Money!
Hi, welcome back everyone. Have you ever had a feeling when you saw some cool build you want to try, but the biggest obstacle between you and the build was leveling your character? I had that feeling quite a lot, so that is why I always use Hollow Palm for leveling Twin character. I used to level using Smite, but since GGG introduced the new Transfigure gems, I switched to Volcanic Fissure of Snaking. This skill has auto-aim built in, so you could just slam the ground and keep running. But I got tired of that build and decided to create something new, potentially even faster than Hollow Palm. That is why I'm presenting you with my Lightning Warp Wonder. Depending on your skill, you can expect to finish campaign in around 2 hours or even less. When I was theory crafting this build, I firstly thought that it would be pretty hard on your eyes to play because of constant teleporting around, but then I tried it and surprisingly enough, it was not that bad. I was just focusing on the minimap and didn't look at my character entirely. This video is going to be split into 2 parts. Leveling until level 25 and after. Since I just came up with the build, there might be some inefficiencies and I would really appreciate the feedback. Let's get started. The main skill of this build is Lightning Warp, which is socketed in the Poet's Pen. The Poet's Pen is a unique wand which allows us to trigger socketed spell with some cooldown. So the key idea of this build is to trigger as much Lightning Warp as possible. To achieve this we have to do several things. Initially, Lightning Warp has some duration which we want to remove completely. To achieve this we use some passives on the tree and 2 unique rings. So 25% from the tree, 40% from the rings, and 35% from the Lightning Warp itself. Combine this and we have 100% reduced duration. Also, and it's quite important, note that this is reduced duration, not less duration, which is completely different thing. Reduced duration is additive, while the less duration is multiplicative. Okay, now we have Insta Warp, and we need to reduce the cooldown as much as we can. Some of you may not know about the cooldown breakpoints, but this video is not about that. Long story short, you have to get 52% CDR and then 90% CDR. Luckily, this level of CDR is not that hard to achieve, since Lightning Warp is a movement skill. To achieve 90% CDR, we use a combination of 2 passive point skills, 1 anointment, and Watcher's Eye with the haste cooldown mode. With the minimal roll on the Watcher Eye, you will get exactly 90% CDR. With CDR and Lightning Warp duration solved, we can try to get as close to 7.5 attack per second as we can. Now we have another problem. We are attacking and triggering Lightning Warp so fast that mana consumption is crazy. We can simply solve it by allocating a couple of passive points and using Watcher Eye with the Clarity mana cost. But what about the damage? Simply running fast is not enough. We have to kill some stuff along the way, and since we are using the Poet's Pen we have to use attack skill. Originally I was thinking about using Power Siphon. My reasoning was that it has auto aim and I thought that I would just warp around and the Power Siphon will auto aim and kill everything. But there was one problem with it. Because of that aim, it would warp on top of the enemy and not where you want it to go. You can clearly see the difference between the Power Siphon and the Kinetic Blast. So that is why I decided to use 4-lane Kinetic Blast for clearing, while keeping the Power Siphon for bossing. And since those are the one skills, we can easily scale them by using the spell damage, power charge and critical strikes. Okay, now let's go to the tree. Please note that this is just a template, there won't be any step-by-step leveling tree. As you can see, the trees are almost identical. The only difference is that the top part of the tree are taking the overcharge node by itself and allocating the fleet foot, and the bottom right trees are taking the fleet foot and allocating the overcharge node. Okay, let's start with the ranger for example. Since this build using only uniques, you won't be able to meet the attribute requirements. So that is why I decided to completely ignore them using Supreme Ostentation Notable from Elegant Hubris Jewel. Then I would suggest you to get to this Jewel socket and use Watcher's Eye in it to solve mana problem. Next I would go straight below to the Fleetfoot passive. Then I would socket the Impossible Escape and allocate those 3 passive. Then I would get some Leech and go straight up to get the last 2 passive points for cooldown recovery rate. After that, the tree is completely flexible. If you need something, you can get that, but I would suggest taking those points for the damage. This is it when it comes to the tree. To summarize, don't forget to allocate the right passive, get those 3 passive points at level 25, go straight to those 2 passive points, and everything else is optional. Feel free to change anything you need. Okay, let's get to the gear. Since our key unique rings have level requirement of 25, we have to level with something else. And we are gonna have 3 separate sets of items. But don't be afraid, I took my time and get every single item that you need to buy in the notes with its link to the trading site. Let's start with the level 1. For the weapon we are gonna use Life Spring wands, since they give a lot of spell damage. For the helmet you can use Gold Dream for the additional elemental resistance. For the body armor use Skin of the Lords with the right colors. In the notes I have a link for the right colors. For the gloves, Loctonial Keres, 7 League Steps boots, Karuiwa Jade amulet, and pair of black heart rings. For the belt, we're gonna use Darkness Enthroned with 2 level 0 requirement Abyss Jivel. I have the link for them as well. And for the flasks, I recommend you either buying them or crafting them for yourself. Buy Quicksilver flask with item level 18 and below, alt spam for the charge recovery, increase movement speed, and use Enkling Orbs to get 70% increased effect. Then, when you reach level 25, we're gonna make big swap. For the weapon we're gonna equip the Poet's Pen, and for the shield we're gonna use Lycosite there, so we don't need any accuracy. For the helmet we're gonna swap for the Thrill Steel helmet for the constant onslaught. The body is the same. We're gonna change the gloves for the Doedre's Tenure, 7 League Steps unchanged, the amulet unchanged. We're gonna equip 2 Time Clasp rings and Prim's View for the belt. And for the level 36, I recommend you changing the boots for the Ralakesh, swap Prim's View back to the Darkness Enthroned, and get better Abyss Jewels. And if you have more spare money, I recommend you getting the Utmost at the level 40, but don't forget the enchant. This is it when it comes to the equipment. Now let's get to the skills. Before the swap, for the 11 we are gonna use the Kinetic Blast. For a support, you should use edit cold damage, edit lightning damage, faster attacks, pierce, and elemental damage with attacks. I recommend you to leave the Kinetic Blast level 1 to reduce the mana consumption. For the utility auras, we're gonna use Herald of Ice, Clarity, Vitality, Flame Dash, Blood Rage, and Sniper Mark. After the swap, we're gonna link Kinetic Blast with Sacred Wisp, faster attacks, and Ice Bite. For the killing bosses, you're gonna need Power Siphon, link with the edit cold damage, elemental damage with attack, edit lightning damage, Ice Bite, and Hypothermia. For the mobility, we're gonna socket Lightning Warp with Inspiration in the Poet's Pen, leave the Lightning Warp at level 6, Vitality Aura is the same. For the utility, edit the Haste Aura, summon Lightning Golem, and to make our life easier, we're gonna automate the Blood Rage and Sniper Mark on hit. Also, for some additional survivability, you should use Immortal Code, cast when damage taken setup, and link it with Light Tap so you can proc it reliably. That's basically it. Now I'm gonna show you some leveling gameplay before the swap and after the swap. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below. If you like the video or think that I did a great job, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, you might consider joining my Discord server. I will see you in the next one. Bye!
I must have time to gather my will.
frightened heart echoes from these stones.
Rest now, atonement.
Please understand that as a gentleman of honor, it pains me greatly to do this. Hard times call for hard hearts. I'm sure, were the circumstances reversed, you'd do precisely the same.
Something eternal remains in this empire. The question is, how?
You? What is that? The cockroach. I like dash. Leave me.